Omaha Mom Talks, proudly sponsored by Day Ventures Swim School, where giggles and goggles unite. Hello and welcome back to Omaha Mom Talks. I'm your host, Jessie Gutierrez. And friends, today's episode is a special one. For the first time ever, we have a dad joining me on the mic. And not just any dad, he is my main man, my husband, the one who answers to Big Papa, Papi Chulo, and a rotating cast of other endearing nicknames, Drew Gutierrez. Today, I sit down with my husband, Drew, for a real talk about love, life, and what happens when a therapist marries a financial advisor. We get into it all from how we met, how we manage money as a couple, and the mental load of being self-employed professionals and parents. Drew also shares some of his financial wisdom in a way that won't make you disassociate, I promise. Whether you're self-employed, saving for your kids' future, or just trying to talk about money without spiraling, this one's for you. Let's get into it. All right, Drew, welcome to Omaha Mom Talks.
Yay.
I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, this was a long time coming.
Yes.
I've been begging you to join me.
You have.
And I've actually had several dads, professionals, reach out to me and say, hey, can dads be on Omaha Mom Talks? And I'm like, absolutely. But I had a personal promise to myself that my first dad on the podcast was going to be you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully this can kind of kick off the more dads being on this show.
Yeah, for sure. And also, just for those that are listening, this has been like rescheduled a couple of times just because of life and happenings. And so I'm super excited to connect with you today. Mm-hmm. And an hour of time together without our kids bugging us.
I know.
That's pretty wild. But Drew, just please introduce yourself to our listeners today.
I'm Drew Gutierrez. I'm Jesse's husband. I'm the father of our two daughters, Isa and Fina. And I'm a financial advisor here in Omaha with Strategic Legacy Advisors.
Perfect. Yes. Drew is our guy for, filling water bottles, wrangling all three of us out of the house whenever we have somewhere important to be. So I would say that's your most important job, right? Mm-hmm. How would you describe our life and our family these days?
It's very energetic and chaotic because we just have so much going on with our two girls, and they have so much energy, and they love to say, Dad, 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 10,000 times a day, it feels like. And
they do.
I love to be able to be there for them calling me. So, but yeah, it's very busy and it's very fun.
Yeah. Our girls are they wake up. I always tell people, because some people think like, oh, raising girls is like calm and sweet. And it is sweet, but like our girls wake up full throttle, ready to take on the day, and they have one speed and they do not slow down.
No.
And they are rough and they tumble and they yell and they do all the things that normal kids do. But they're not like sweet, mild, calm.
Not at all.
Children.
Not all the time. But I have been learning how to do hair and paint nails.
Yeah, for a guy who doesn't have hair.
I know. It's
Drew has learned.
Living vicariously through my daughters and their long locks.
And we call it hair shop when we do hair in the mornings, and they will sometimes like, I want daddy to do my hair, and because they know it's going to be quick and fast, like a pony.
It's going to be a pony.
Yes. Well, I, as you know, love our love story and how we met and how we went from friends to married and parents together. So let's tell the people how we met. I'll let you start, and then, of course, I will fill in.
Yeah, we met back in 2002 when we were freshmen in college out in University of Nebraska-Kearney. And
Go Lopers.
Go Lopes. And I think, I believe we met in math class, and I didn't have my pencils or supplies, or I wasn't very well prepared for the lesson that was going to happen. And I definitely asked you just to borrow a pencil, and probably did it more than a few times. And we became friends after that and started hanging out. And
yeah,
I realized that, I really liked you as a friend, and that's kind of all it was for many years, is we were just platonic friends, best friends. And
we had a small group of emo punk rock kids at UNK. So like we went to a lot of concerts together. We hung out. And that's kind of how we like built our friendship, going to shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you moved to Omaha, and I moved to Lincoln, and we would definitely like go back and forth and hang out with each other and our friends in different towns, and we went to a lot of shows in Omaha together.
Yeah,
which was always fun, which we still like to do.
Yes, when we can find a babysitter.
Yeah.
So we were friends for 11 years and totally like became besties. So Drew was the guy who, like, because I, had different dating relationships, and you would always like be there for me during my breakups. Drew always helped me move to every, like, out of my dorm room, into my sorority house, into my apartment, into Omaha. Like I always say, like, your true friends show up for you when it's moving day, because nobody wants to move, and you help everybody move. Everybody always asks Drew. But he's busy now, so don't ask him. But my dad was always so grateful. And then my mom and my sister were always like, we want you to date Drew. We want you to marry Drew. Because he would go to weddings with me as my date, like just as friends. And I, at the time, was like, no, like we really are just friends. Like I don't see him like that. It's not like that. And then... Tell us how. And
then we went to a Husker game together, like in 2013, and I had a big old Mario mustache.
I can't.
That you fell in love with.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, yes and no. So again, we were like totally platonic, and Drew was like, come to Lincoln with me to this game. We'll stay at our friends' Gorman's in Lincoln, and we'll tailgate all day. All of our friends are going. Let's go. So we go. We have a great day. Drew had this huge, ginormous Mario, like think Mario and Luigi stash. And the whole day, like, randos were taking pictures with him. Like, hey, dude, I like your stash. Like, he was like a celebrity with this mustache. So that was the first night we kissed. So he loves to tell the story that it was the mustache that
drew you to me.
Made me weak in the knees.
Yes.
And so it really wasn't.
Trapped,
because we didn't like that stash. But that was the first night that we kissed. And full transparency, I thought like, oh my gosh, what if the next day, like I have regret, or what if I like feel weird about this? Because we were besties. And to my surprise, the next day I was like, oh my gosh, I want more. I want to kiss him again. I think I like Drew. This is so weird, because we had been friends for so long. We also had like this very close, large, but very close, tight-knit friend circle. So we were friends with all of the same people. So we originally said, like, we're going to keep this on the DL. We're not going to tell any of our friends. We're going to just like first figure out between us, like, is this something? Could it be something? What does it mean? And we're just going to not tell people until we figure it out as individuals. Mm-hmm. But you did not even last a week.
No. I knew that I liked you, and that if I was going to pursue this, I needed to pursue it fully, because I didn't want to ruin our friendship, because I did value that so much. So I definitely told people right away that, oh yeah, me and Jesse are getting together,
No, we were like a week in, and we were like having this secret little romance for literally a week, which we both worked. Like we're young professionals, and we were going to Kansas City for a weekend with a group of friends to see the Toolies, who lived in Kansas City at the time. And I hop in the car for our road trip with our friends, and I get in, and we'd agreed we're not going to tell anybody all weekend. We're just going to be platonic. And I get in the car, and Drew's like, yeah, I already told Andrea, and I told
like meat sack.
I told everybody. And I was like, Drew, oh my gosh. And then 2 weeks later, you told me that you were in love with me.
I did.
And you said, I already told my mom about you and us, and you better not mess this up.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
I do. Yep. Which was big, because I've never like committed like that. So I was willing to make that jump and take a chance and take the risk that, yes, this is going to work out. This is who I'm meant to be with.
I was really, really scared because of our friendship, and just thinking like, what if we do this and it doesn't work out, and how would that impact us and our friends? And I actually tried to break up with you.
Yep. You were a runner, and I knew that. And
she's a runner. She's a drug star.
yeah. So you tried to break up with me one time, and you gave this big explanation of like why we need to break up. And I just remember being like, okay, I hear you, but I do not accept. I know you. I know what you're currently like going through, and I think if we just continue to like work through this and give it some time, that you're gonna be grateful that we stuck through it.
Yeah. And you were right. And I'm so glad that you did know me. And then I was a runner. I was an avoidant and I was scared. And you literally was like, I hear you. And I do not accept your breakup. And I was like, you're at my apartment and I think it's time to leave. And you're like, and I will be leaving, but we are still together. And we were. And so then engaged, married, and then 2 beautiful babies.
I know.
And here we are. So we have been together, I think almost 12 years, married 8, but like literally it feels like we've grown up together since we met. I think now we've officially known each other longer than we have not had each other in our lives because we're old.
Yeah. We've known each other for 23 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
And we're both 30. So.
Okay. Yeah. Math is hard for some of us. Okay. So the people want to know what's something surprising about being married to a therapist.
I would say it's probably like, it's not so much surprising as it is welcoming and like helpful. Is we do have energetic daughters and they do like to be loud or have big feelings. Mm-hmm. And so I was raised with very loving, but also very stern. Like, this is what you're going to do. This is what you need to behave. Do it.
Limit those big feelings.
Yeah, limit those big feelings, which is fine. But with you and being raised as a therapist, you do have a lot of different coping skills and techniques that I've found to be very, very helpful. And it allows me to be softer with my daughters. So I'm appreciative of that.
I love that. Thank you. It's a beautiful compliment. Okay, some folks also want to know, between the two of us, who is Latino. So people assume, based, like, if you see us, if you're watching the video, people assume, like, oh, Jessie, and then our last name, Gutierrez, or Gutierrez, however you decide to say it, is a Latino last name. And so sometimes people ask me, like, is that your married name from your husband, or is that your maiden name? So set the record straight.
Yeah, I had a friend once ask me, like, which one of my parents is Mexican. And I was like, well, my last name's Gutierrez, so my dad. But yeah, my dad is Mexican and my mom is not. So I'm half, 50% Mexican, 50% Irish, essentially. And so, and just like you, who's 50% Mexican with your mom's side.
Yep, my mom's Mexican and my dad's Caucasian, so I'm also half Mexican, half white. So we're the same, and then our kids are also.
Yeah, also 50.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we gave them the most beautiful Latino last names, and none of us are fully bilingual yet, but my kids will tell you that I am fully bilingual and that Mom knows all the Spanish words, which I don't tell them that. It just cracks me up. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your job and what it is that you do.
Okay. Financial advisor here in Omaha with Strategic Legacy Advisors. My partner is Matt Shear, who I've been with him for 10 years now.
As your business partner?
Yep, my business partner. And we just work with families and individuals on getting them started, helping them solve their financial problems or questions, and then going through kind of all the stages of their financial success that they want to achieve, and helping them guide them there if we're able to. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the populations? I know you love young families, helping young families like ours, right? Talk about that specifically.
Yeah. So we can work with young families, people who are in the accumulation phase, who are building their wealth, trying to figure out like what's the best way to do it, and eventually they'll run into tax issues, and we can kind of help them with that too, at least address that and guide them in the right direction to, mitigate the liability they'll have there.
Mm-hmm. Single people too.
Single people also, yeah. Singles, married, whatever have you. And then later on in life, we kind of help people with the distribution phase on, okay, we've accumulated all this wealth. What do we do with it? How do we make sure we don't run out of it? And what's the best path we can do to make it less less stressful for them.
Okay. And one of the, I guess, populations that I know that you're passionate about is special needs folks or families that have a member of their family with special needs. Can you chat a little bit and share a little bit about that and why that is?
Well, I have a brother, as you know, your brother-in-law, Jake.
Bill.
Yep. He has Down syndrome. So all growing up, I've been involved in the special needs community. And when I first moved to Omaha, I worked at a center for disabled individuals. And I loved it. I loved working with that population. The only issue that I had with it was, we would work all day on life skills, but then they may go home or go to a group home or something like that. And the work I was doing, felt like it would just get kind of turned over and have to be reset the next day. And I would talk to these families, and I, just from knowing a lot of families, I've known of the struggles and strife that having a special needs child brings, and also the worry that it brings. So I knew I wanted to do more, and I was able to talk to Mike Owens, who guided me in the right direction. And since then, I've been able to help families kind of set that up, make sure that their child will be okay when they eventually do pass away. Make sure that, the person that's going to be the caretaker is informed and knows what to do, how to spend the qualified dollars, how to make sure that Medicaid and disability doesn't get taken away, things like that.
Right.
So.
Like in our situation with your brother, Jakey, your mom is his full-time mom and caregiver. And, someday he will come live with us. And because you're informed, you've been working with your mom for years on like how to protect his Medicaid, his Social Security, all of his benefits. But because of that knowledge, I love, seeing the work that you do with other families. Like if an adult sibling's parent, unexpectedly dies and that's the main caregiver of their sibling with special needs, they have no idea and they're grieving their mom, right? And there's so many changes in the state and everything. And so having someone like you who has that knowledge and education, but also like is living it with a brother with special needs, I think is just so valuable.
Yeah. I mean, there's no harder time to deal with this stuff than when someone passes away or someone dies. And unfortunately, life keeps moving on. So if we're able to set something up and have it in place so that when that does happen, the transition can be seamless, that's where we get a lot of satisfaction and a lot of like good feelings from the work we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, Drew and I actually office out of the same building. So he was there first and we have spaces just down the hall from each other. And whenever people, and my sister Rana, who's also a mental health therapist, she also rents an office in the same building. And people often think like, oh, like you and your husband, do you see each other all the time at work or do you hang out all the time? And that is not true. Even though we're just down the hall, we really both are really focused at work on our jobs. And you kind of avoid me. So why is that?
Oh, I don't avoid you. It's just every time I go see you, you seem to have a picture that needs hung on the wall and me being 5'7", the one thing that I am not good at is hanging a picture above my head and making sure it's level. So I know to avoid then. But, I'm usually on Diet Coke duty or, taking out the trash for you or
I hate taking out the
just
trash.
a little stuff that.
Yeah, I think you avoid me because I rope you into assisting.
Yes.
But I like to say this is a family business. And so the family needs to support each other, right? So we joke a lot in our house. And you answer to a whole list of nicknames. I want to know, what are your top 3 favorite nicknames that the girls and I call you?
Well, my favorite, Honey. Issa is the one, our youngest, our 4-year-old. She's the one who calls me that. It's usually when she's playing. She's like, "You're my honey and I'm your sweetie." And I always really like that.
It melts your heart.
Yeah. And then Fina calls me Big Boy.
And it has to be like, "Big boy."
Yeah. She does it with a little inflection, and then her voice gets a little bit deeper. So it always like brings a smile to my face.
Yeah.
And then you call me Papi Chulo, which isn't my favorite, but I do love like when you say it because you always say it with a smile and like it's like I can tell it brings you joy saying it. So like it makes me happy to see you smile like that. So,
oh, thank you. I started I didn't start honey or sweetie, like you said, but big boy, I started calling Drew. One of our favorite movies when we were like dating was Love Actually. And there's this scene where I guess she has a British accent. It's like, big boy. And so I started saying that and I would yell it. And then the girls started saying it. And then I also would call you Big Papa sometimes, Papi Chulo, all these names, but they hear them and they're always listening. So they say them. And so it cracks me up. They're 7 and 4 right now. And what really cracks me up is when they call you, and especially our 7-year-old Fina, when she can't get your attention and she'll be like, Andrew, because I very rarely ever call you Andrew, but you know who does?
Yep, my mom.
Drew's mom, when you're like...
When I'm in trouble.
When you're in trouble.
So, and they know. I feel so bad for my brother, Jake, because when he gets harped on or when he gets like redirected by my mom, now the girls redirect him and they're like, Jakey, get away from the fridge.
They love to tell him what to do.
Pop. Yeah.
And he's so patient with them.
He is very patient.
Yeah. But I love all of our nicknames for you, and I'm glad that you answer to them. Okay, let's transition our chat into talking about money and without the shame, most importantly. So as you know, I wasn't raised with a lot of great lessons on financial literacy, and I have learned a lot from you. For folks who might be in the same boat as me, where is a realistic place to start on being smart with their coins?
I think the most realistic spot that a couple or an individual should start with is figuring out their budget. Okay. It's never like a fun thing to do, to have to sit down, put everything out there, seeing what's coming in, seeing what's going out. But it's very hard to do anything if you don't know what you have. So to begin with, starting with a budget is, in my eyes, the most important. And then even every month or every 2 months, sitting back down, going over the budget, making sure that we've implemented this plan that we have and that we're following it, because you'd hate to do all the work in the beginning and then, 3 months later, it's back to the same old thing and you haven't been able to make any progress. Right.
Well, and I think that, first of all, talking about money for someone like me is super boring. Mm-hmm. And also, I've learned, not good for me to avoid having these conversations. They're hard to have. And that's something you tell me a lot is I know it's hard to talk about, or I know it's hard to take the time. And so something like starting a budget, it can sound so basic, but also realistically, if I sit down and actually want to do that, it's also very overwhelming because I know I'm juggling a million things. But I think starting with knowing what you have coming in, what you have going out for expenses is where we need to start. From your perspective, what do you wish more couples talked about when it comes to money?
I would say probably not only talk about, but understand is their relationship with money, and what that expectation brings. And when I talk about someone's relationship with money, it could be, someone who is raised to save, raised to, not spend. They're going to have a different relationship with money than someone who, has been raised to, hey, let's spend it if we got it. Yes. We're only here for a couple years.
For a short time.
Yeah, short time. Let's make it a good one.
Time.
Yeah.
No, so just to pause and add to that, we were raised very differently, right? Yes. So I was raised, my dad was a frugal saver, but he didn't know much about investing. And then my mom was like, spend, spend, spend. I can't take it to my grave. No rules, no boundaries, no limits with money. And so I wasn't given great lessons there. And versus you as my husband were raised, how would you say?
I would say to save, to put money away, to really not spend money.
Work hard. Save,
yeah,
save.
Yeah, save.
Yeah.
So
Drew grew up with primarily a single mom, and she worked really, really hard. And she also had a really long-term, which I'm always impressed. Your mom had a long-term vision for finances.
Yes.
And so I know, seeing that in her is something I want to give to our kids for sure, because I didn't have that. So you said talking about kind of your relationship with money.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went to premarital counseling with Father Dave, so our priest who married us. So we had to do, I don't even remember how many sessions.
Probably a lot. It felt like.
So he had us do some relationships assessments that noted our strengths and our areas of improvements, which we actually loved. Like, I was surprised. I knew I would love it, but you loved going to those premarital counseling sessions. One of the reasons why is because we had a lot of strengths because we were friends for so freaking long before we dated or were married. So it was like cool for someone else to like highlight, like, here are all the like really great things going on in your relationship. But then we had 2 areas of improvement that he was like, whoa, like, these are your 2 big areas that need improvement. Do you remember what those were? Communication
and finance.
Yes. So I guess we weren't really like surprised when he said that, but he was like chuckling and he was like, don't you guys think that's funny? And we're like, which part? Like, and he was like, kind of pause, and we're like, what part? And he was like, well, communication, Jesse, you're a mental health therapist, and finances, Drew, you're a financial advisor. Like, don't you think it's funny that your 2 areas of expertise is like where you struggle as
I mean,
couple?
When he said that, I was like, oh,
we both were like,
that's that shouldn't be. That should be 2 of our strengths.
Yeah, but like we both had such strong like strengths in that specific domain, and the other maybe didn't. And so we've had to continue to improve on that, right? So a lot of moms tell me that they feel behind financially, and like I can relate to that, especially like, you know, as a young professional. What would you say to those folks?
I would say that that's a very understandable like fear or like feeling that they have. Time is kind of the one thing that we want more of than we really can't get more of.
Yeah.
And, you know, we may have an idea, set out to do something, and then a year goes by.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh man, if I would have just done that a year ago, I'd be so much happier. And then another year goes by. And that's kind of the hard thing with everything is getting started and getting it put in place. So when they say like, there's no better time than the present, that is really true. If there is something that you want to achieve with finances or with anything else, it's kind of like just start it, get in the habit of doing it, and then look back on it in a year, 5 years, 10 years, and chances are you'll be happy with how the progress has come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it can be overwhelming, like knowing where to start. Can you share a little bit about what, like the education piece that you offer folks? And
so if someone were to come into us and not have any idea about where to start or what to do, you know, we would sit down with them, go over kind of what they are looking to achieve. If they don't even know that, we'll just educate them on what investing is, what we do, what we would look to do in the future, and get them on the right path to start contributing to whatever financial vehicle that we decide to put them in, and they decide with us. Because it's always we want it to be a 2-way street of
it's a relationship.
Us working with them and them working with us. We're not just going to be like, you need to do this, this, and this, because I don't like to be told what to do. You don't like to be told what to do. So if we can be collaborative in it, you know, we will definitely hold hands, get you to the spot that you're comfortable with. And we're never going to be like, oh, you need to have $100,000 to start. It's not that.
Right.
And a lot of people can feel like, oh, if I just don't have the money, so I'm not going to do it.
Right.
You know, we'll never put you in a spot to where you're like, oh, now I can't go on vacation, or now I can't have a fun weekend with my family because I need to be putting money towards here. It's making sure that you're comfortable with the amount that you're doing, and also it's feasible. Because the last thing you'd want is to cause you any strain or stress.
Yeah. Well, I think it is a relief. You know, it will be a relief for people to hear that the education piece and the relationship building is part of the process. I think, it can feel super intimidating to think about, one, just looking over your finances, but then meeting with another individual to look over your finances with you. That's like very vulnerable. But I think knowing that you are going to, you know, really hear what individuals' goals are, what they're wanting to do. If they're not sure, then you're going to give them that education and you're going to give them options. And they always have it's person-centered, right? So they have the autonomy to decide, like, yes, I want to do this. No, I don't want to. And I think you kind of said something that also struck me, which is this common misconception that, like, you have to be rich to invest, or you have to be like a mega millionaire to have a financial advisor or do financial planning.
Yeah, and that's not true. Like everybody's obviously different. Everybody's situation is different. So it's really important for us to sit down with them, get a good understanding of what they have going on, because that's the only way we can truly, put something in place to help them out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, like for me, prior to learning from you, I thought that like investments and stocks and things like that were like just for like Wall Street, men in suits, mega rich, generational wealth population. And that felt so far away from me, who, in my, even just my early professional days, like literally was leaving like paycheck to paycheck. So to meet with someone to talk about my money, I felt like, well, I ain't got none. So like, what is there to talk about?
Yeah.
And it just felt like, I can't, that's not realistic for me.
And I think that kind of goes back to setting a budget, like getting yourself in a position so that if today is not the day, in 6 months, you're in a better spot to be able to start, and get control over whatever stressor or situation that you have that you want to get control of and begin.
Yeah. Hey friends, this is Jessie. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to give a big thank you to our season 2 sponsor, Diventures Swim School. My kids started weekly swim lessons at Diventures back in February 2025, and honestly, I've been blown away by the growth that I've seen in just a few months. As a water-loving family, water safety is super important to us, and Diventures has given me such peace of mind as a parent. I'm going to share with you just a few of the things that I love the most about Diventures. They offer classes for all ages and stages, starting as young as 2 months all the way up to adults. They have small class sizes with just 4 kids max to 1 adult, so they really do get a lot of that one-on-one support. They have a heated pool, so no battles over getting into cold water. They have flexible class times, which allow for rescheduling when life gets busy or you're going to be out of town. And of course, expert instructors, all certified and truly just amazing with kids. If swim lessons has been on your list, this is your sign. Head on over to diventures.com and find a class that's right for your family. So let's break down the difference between saving versus investing. I want to break this down into like elementary terms, because your brain works differently than, of course, mine and a lot of, folks that may be listening to this. And I know for me, I used to think like putting money in savings, that's what I was like told to do. And I thought that was like being super, super responsible and like setting me up. But then, later on learned like maybe that wasn't enough because I wasn't growing my money. So talk to us about, and break it down into like 4th grade intellectual level here, savings versus investing. What's the difference and when should we do?
Yeah. Savings is essentially just a short-term goal that you're putting money away for, whether it be bills or for a new water heater, something unexpected that would happen that you have to purchase. You have money on the side that you plan on using in a short term. Investing is you're using your money to acquire an asset with the expectation that asset is going to grow in value, increasing the original investment amount that you put in. So that could be like buying a house. Like you buy a house thinking that's going to go up. You buy a timeshare. No, you don't buy a timeshare. You buy equities with hopes that stock will go up. So the difference between those two is that's more of a long-term goal.
Yeah. So
long-term goal.
Savings, short-term security, investing, long-term growth.
Yeah.
I think that like growth part, I know was like, newer to me, even in like the last, 5 years, because I was able to, I actually had some money to put into investments and you helped me, and like to watch it grow is actually really freaking cool. Especially like I'm not doing anything. Now there's risk there. Obviously it can also go down, the stock market goes up and down, but like, it's been really cool to see that. And I kind of zone out when you talk to me about my investments, I mean,
I know. It's kind of nice to have you here to
Lordy.
have to go over it.
But it is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And it makes me, excited for, I'm always thinking about our kids.
Yeah. And while there's no guarantee that anything's going to happen, a lot of people who begin have the same reaction as you, as like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did this, essentially.
Yeah. What would you say to the couple or the person who is looking at their finances and then they just decide to avoid it because of like fear, shame?
Yeah. And that's understandable. I've had those moments too.
Same.
I always try to go by the notion that it's better to face it than to live in fear of it.
Yeah.
And it can be hard. Like I've had to open up my checkbook after a vacation or a weekend spending spree and be like, oh, okay, I have to tighten up now for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But really, it's just facing it, understanding it, being like, okay, this is what we have. This is what we're working with. Once you know what you have and you get good control over it, it does make a lot of the things later on that you want to do or achieve a little bit easier because you have a good foundation set up that is going to put you on the path for success.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to face it to change it, right? And
With a lot of things.
Yeah. And Drew has walked alongside me in my journey of avoiding, and that fear is real. That avoidance is real easy, and money wounds, for many of us are very real, and it's okay to name that.
Yeah.
And push through it.
And it's okay to have to be ashamed of it or to be disappointed in yourself. It's just important to take control over it and don't let that shame or embarrassment or what have you spiral and keep you stuck. Yeah. Because then you're just treading and it's just going to be a bigger hole that's going to end up being dug.
Yes. So let's shift our focus a little bit to self-employment and finances. So for those that are listening, Drew and I are both self-employed, and you've been self-employed for a while now. How long?
For 10 years.
Has it been 10
Yeah,
years?
no.
Decade? Okay. Do you remember when I left my full-time job to also become self-employed?
I do. I remember I was just a couple years in the business and was still living off commission.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely peak and valley in terms of what's coming in. Nothing set. But thankfully, I had you who had a steady income.
Okay.
And I could have a little bit of security to fall back on if things didn't go that well in the beginning. Then we had our daughter, and you wanted to go independent.
Rogue.
What did you say? You went rogue on me. No, you decided you came up with the thought that, hey, I want to go into private practice, and it was definitely scary because it's losing insurance, it's losing having to go through the marketplace for insurance. It is losing a steady paycheck that was at least reliable, and then there's also more bills going out of, hey, now we have to rent another office and get the private insurance and all this stuff. So
it was really scary. I will say I remember you were hesitant at first and unsure, but it didn't take you too long to jump on board.
No, I mean,
be a supporter.
When you're ready to move and do, when you have your mindset on things, kind of like this, you do a great job of, all right, here's my plan. Here's what it's going to look like in 3 to 5 years. This is my idea, and this is how it's going to be successful. So I do love that about you, is that, and it relieves a lot of the stress that I might have, because I'm like, okay, well, at least she knows what she wants to do. It's not like I'm just going to quit and sit at home and wait for people to call me. It's like she's out there advertising herself on the Psychology Today and doing the things that need to be done to have a successful business. So so at first, yes, it was a little bit stressful, but we powered through, and I'm so happy that you were able to stay home with the girls on certain days, and because I know that was important to you too.
Yes, having that flexibility in my schedule, being able to when it's a snow day or when school's canceled, I don't have to call my boss and use PTO. There's definitely cons to that, right? Being that neither of us
you're not getting paid that day.
Yeah, we don't have paid time off, so when we're not working, we're not making money. And since we are both self-employed, I think we had a lot of snow days this last winter. Yeah, we did. And so we have to tag team essentially, who has what on the calendar, who can afford to take the day off, who can move things around. So it is a struggle, but we make it work. And I am so fortunate for taking that plunge. For the folks that are also self-employed, what are some financial planning basics that those folks should have on their radar, especially parents?
I would say saving for taxes, putting money away for taxes, because if I know it's not fun, but it's nice to have kind of a bigger paycheck, but that's less taxed. So you do have to pay that in. So putting money away for that is probably number one, because no one likes a big surprise, or paying quarterly would be beneficial.
Yeah.
And getting set up with some type of retirement plan would be important, and learning the tax efficient ways to do that.
Well, taxes, y'all, is my least favorite part of being self-employed, and it does sneak up on you fast. It is a blessing and a curse being married to a financial advisor. More blessing than it is curse. But Drew is always on me about my taxes and always criticizing my systems, sharpening up. So it is important to have those systems in place. It does make it easier.
Yeah, figuring out some type of filing system or app or anything to help keep your qualified deductions in order. That way, when tax season does come and you have your own business, you can have all that information of all the money that went out, get that all in line, and get it taken care of versus, well, we got 1 week to file our taxes. Where do we got to go?
I have done that before, and it was awful. And figuring out, like, where do I get my statements and where do I get whatever from all of my payers, insurance companies. Yes. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Bad memories.
Yeah.
So I heard you talk about, for self-employed folks, finding a way to save for retirement. So if you are self-employed and you don't have a traditional 401k for retirement, what kind of options do exist for either like small business employees or small business folks, owners? Yeah,
there are a lot of different options, and a lot of them, like a SEP plan, simple, solo K. Those are just three options that it definitely helps to like talk to individuals about, but they allow for the employer to make contributions. And
is that something folks need someone like you to set up, or is that something they can do on their own?
Ultimately, like you'd want to have the conversation to make sure that you get the correct retirement plan for your situation. Okay. Everybody's going to be different, so I wouldn't be able to say like, oh, everybody needs this plan or that plan.
Got it.
It's all dependent on your situation, but getting those in place will allow you to have tax deductions also depending on which plan you choose. So basically paying yourself or paying the government, you get to choose at that point.
Okay. And then how can self-employed families protect their income, especially if one partner is the sole provider?
Yeah. We go over that with individuals too. Like there's no harder time than when someone does, say, become disabled or someone dies prematurely at an early age, and you get left with a family of three. And what do we do now? A lot of that stuff can be funded through life insurance or disability insurance or whatever type of insurance that you need. But what we like to do is do an audit of individuals and what they currently have, because a lot of that stuff could have been set up 5 years ago, and all of a sudden you have two babies and the coverage that you do have is not enough, or you've had a new job or an increase in job, and you want to make sure that if you were to become disabled, that you get that lifestyle is able to stay the same, essentially.
Right. It's not going to change your quality of life.
Yeah, it's not going to change the quality of life, and the amount of coverage that you would get for a disability is covered, and you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, you can work at this job, but you were a CEO, but now you can go work shoveling snow, so we're not going to pay you. So making sure that you're covered properly is kind of what we go through with an audit.
Okay, I love that. Well, and those are things that no one wants to think about, right? Like a catastrophe or an end of life of you or your partner, but it actually does give you peace of mind once you have a plan in place, I think, especially for parents.
Yeah. And there's definitely a period that most people go through. I went through it too, of I'm invulnerable. I cannot be hurt. Yeah. Nothing bad's going to happen to me.
As a young person. And then you become a parent, and then you become,
or all your friends start having stuff go on.
Having heart attacks. Playing soccer.
I know. Stuff like that.
I know.
Like at that point, it's like, okay, well, maybe invincible. I need to, it's like, oh, we're not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
Anything
could happen at any
old.
time. Yes, we are. I agree. Okay, let's talk about future planning for kids, college, legacy. I think we obviously don't know if our kids are going to go to college. We hope that they are, but that's not everyone's path. So let's chat a little bit about realistic first steps that parents can take for saving for their child's future, whether that be college or not.
Yeah, I would say a realistic first step would be letting yourself know that it's okay that you don't have to fund the entire thing. A lot of people probably have the idea of I have to pay for this individual's my kid's college when he gets older. Well, college prices right now are pretty steep, and they don't foresee them going down. So knowing that, hey, it's okay if I haven't started or I start now, and maybe just get enough to cover books and technology, because that's always going to be cycling through different needs, computers and things like that. So just being able to have something for them.
Okay.
Whether it's you're starting at age 1 or at age 15, it's never too late to start.
Because it can sound massive to fund an entire college for multiple kids.
If you're oh, my kid's 3 years away from school, there's nothing I can do because I'm not going to be able to raise enough to cover, 4 years of college in this shorter time. Well, you can put that money away and have a potential for it to grow, and then get that qualified expense paid for, and then you don't have to pay any tax on the gains and stuff like that. So as long as it's used for a qualified expense, that's what it affords you for.
So talk to me about a 529 plan.
Yeah.
What is it?
Those are college savings plans that Nest, Nebraska.
Okay. That's a Nebraska specific.
Yep. So they're all state specific. Okay. So the 529 plan allows you to put.
Drew is saying this to me like I should know, but I don't, and I'm guessing a lot of people don't. So.
I know. No. So you put these plans in place to put money away. Anybody can donate to them. You set them up for your child as a beneficiary, and then so the nice thing about those too is you can just send a link to grandma and grandpa and say, hey, here's the link for little Johnny or little Sally.
Okay.
If you'd like to put money in towards it, great. If not, that's okay too. Then you can fund it yourself. And then when it does come time to go to school, as long as it's a qualified expense, either tuition or room and board or books or technology, that money, any growth on that money isn't taxed.
Are there accounts for savings for kids that they can access with the option of not going to college?
Yeah.
Maybe for a wedding or something.
Yeah, you can get a little UMA or UGMA trust.
Sorry, not
no,
I don't know.
Or UGMA. Okay. They're trusts designated for children that you can put money in.
Okay.
Those will grow depending on what you invest in, but you invest in equities and things like that. And over a period of time, once they turn the age of majority, that gets turned over to them, so they can use that for whatever they want.
I see.
So if they decide to go to school, great, they can use it for that. But if they don't, then it's their money. And if they want to go to Cabo, they get to go to Cabo.
Okay. For families that want to model good money habits to their kids, but don't really know where to begin, what advice do you have?
I would focus on the relationship they have with their money. So ensuring that they have a good relationship with the dollars that they have is important, and that'll set them up for the future of being responsible with that. Shout out Jeannie Yao and Eric Yao. They do one thing that I love is they give their kids tallies. So depending on if they do well on a test, or if they have great behavior, or if they do something exceptional, they'll earn a tally. And those tallies are 10 cents, 20 cents, 25 cents, whatever have you. And then at the end of the week or month, they tally that up, and however much they earn, they get paid out. And then that money is used for whatever they want to buy, like gas station snacks for our kids. Yeah, it's because our kids love gas station snacks.
Well, yeah. So our friends, we learned from them. Essentially, it was a behavioral type chart, but that it equated money, and that was a way for us to introduce earning and spending with our kids. And so they get these tallies. For us, each tally is 25 cents, and they get a coin, and then at then when we go to the gas station, because they always want to go to the gas station, we say, well, let's see what money you have. And that is a way that we have been teaching them good money habits. We also, and this has been, you know, in the last couple of years, newer for me, but just talking openly with our kids about finances and budget, obviously like age appropriate, but we do talk about like we have a family budget and this is why we have a budget. And so we can't go to Chick-fil-A every night, even though in my head, I want to go to Chick-fil-A every night, but I have to model to them, right? Like there's a limit to spending and we have to save, and we talk about how, you know, mom and dad work really hard for our house. And so we can do fun things, but we can't do fun things all of the time, every day, that we have to stay within our budget and be responsible with our money. And we talk about saving. Like if you want that $25 toy at Target and you only have 50 cents in the piggy bank, we better work really hard with good behavior to earn more coins, right? So
and starting at this young age, the hope is that when they get older, they'll understand that, money just doesn't show up.
Right. The money fairy isn't coming.
The money fairy isn't coming. I understand that if I do want things, I need to save for it. You know, money isn't some like imaginary thing.
Right.
So they'll hopefully have some value for it as they get older and are able to have a good relationship with it. Yeah.
So when we think about legacy for our kids, it's not just about like leaving them physical money. It's also leaving them with that wisdom and that education. Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit. And something I want to chat about is men's mental health. So something that I'm really proud of you, Drew, is your own healing work. And you've given me permission to chat about this here. And you have been in therapy, and I'm super proud of you for that. I think that there is still so much stigma about mental health in general, but especially men's mental health. We hear a lot of, you know, negative messaging such as like man up or, you know, don't be soft, or these harmful messages. Can you share a little bit about your own therapy and healing journey?
Yeah. So I was struggling with not being present in the moment, essentially. My mind would always wander to like the next thing, the next, you know, thing that needs to be achieved, the next bill that is going to come, the next opportunity I have for work. So I was really having issues like enjoying the time with my family because we'd be doing things and my mind wouldn't be there. Yeah. And I don't think I'm above getting, I think I need work, you know, I don't think I'm perfect or anything like that. Yeah. So, finding a therapist and going to therapy has allowed me to be more present, relieve some of the stress that I may have, or like some of the irritability or anxiety or anything that builds up, and learning how to deal with that in a positive manner rather than being grumpy or, you know, not being present. So, because I want to be able to enjoy my family also, you know, rather than worrying about whatever it is I'm worrying about.
Yeah. And I think that like just starting therapy is really hard for folks. I mean, I know that as a therapist that goes to therapy, that there can be this, you know, feeling of like, what's so wrong with me that I need therapy? Even like being married to a therapist, those thoughts can, you know, creep in, but it doesn't mean that something's so wrong with you or that you're broken or you need to be fixed. To me, it means you deserve support. You deserve a non-biased person in your corner, listening to you, validating you, but also giving you some insights and tools on how to get unstuck.
Yeah, right? I would agree with that. And I like my therapist. Like when I don't think I went to like one or two beforehand, but when I found the therapist that I'm with now, he does a great job of keeping me on track and like helping me like dissect like why I'm feeling this way, or just allowing me to get things off my chest, which even when we talk and I express how I'm feeling to you, I feel infinitely better than
I can physically see the relief.
Than like allowing it to build up for 3 weeks of me being like upset with something and just not wanting to say it because of whatever, you know. But once I'm able to like feel like I'm heard, then it's okay. now I'll be happy until.
Yeah, it is funny. Like,
whatever.
not funny, but like you'll say this big thing, get it off, and I can see it off of you.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm still like in the I want to process more stage, and you're like, no, man, I'm good. I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, this feels so much better now.
What would you say to a man who's curious about therapy but unsure or hesitant?
I would say if you're curious, the most important thing to do is just to reach out to someone who can kind of guide you in the right direction, whether it be your partner or someone that you know in the field. Just kind of talk to them about like, hey, I'm thinking about going to therapy, or I think I'd like to see a therapist just for some stuff. Like, can you point me in to someone that you maybe can recommend or refer? Because if you don't like it, you can always stop. But it's always better to try something and try a hard thing that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. Anything I've ever done has been out of my comfort zone. That's been very, very meaningful and successful and profitable for me. So
Yeah.
so getting that help is always good.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say I'm really proud of you. I think that you and I both know, like, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, and we both have, healing to do and continue, but I'm just really proud of you for staying committed to it and doing the work and being insightful. Yeah, I think we don't talk about men's mental health enough. We are going to do a quick bonus segment, and this is just rapid fire round, 1-word answers or short responses from you. What is your favorite part of parenting daughters? Short response.
Just them yelling my name.
They are like
them wanting me.
They are so in love with their dad, especially our youngest. That's her favorite person, which I was a daddy's girl, so I love to see it. What would you say is the most therapist-y thing or phrase that I say at home?
I don't know. That's a tough one. There's so many. No, I would say it's probably something to do with like, hey, let's. You have big feelings. It's okay.
So like validating.
Yeah, validating.
Yeah. If we won the lottery, what do you think is the first thing I would spend it on?
I don't know. Probably an Amazon truck.
Oh, yes. My bestie, Amazon. Okay, second bonus segment, what she says versus what she really means. So you have been with me forever and, around women because of your mom, your sister, now your girls. So we're going to play a little game, and I'm going to share some common things that I say or maybe other women say. And I want you to tell listeners what your ear hears and what you actually think it means. So let's go. First one, and tone matters here.
Okay.
I don't care.
Oh, I think that means you do care.
Do they care a lot?
Probably too much.
Okay. Next one. I have to channel myself. It doesn't matter.
I would say that it does matter, and I have to make the right decision.
Very important. Okay. I'm fine.
You're probably not fine.
Okay. Let's see. Do whatever you want.
Oh, it's my favorite one. It means it means you want me to have a good time.
No, it doesn't.
It means you want me to go out and, enjoy myself. So I always say, okay, love you, bye.
You should know that that's not what I mean. Okay. And last one, what if I say, I just need some Maggie or sister time?
That means you just need to go hang out with your bestie or your other bestie. And I say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, because I'm like on my way to a Ben TV.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
So.
Good job. You did great. All right, Drew. Well, before we wrap up, if somebody has been listening and they're thinking, like, I need to meet with this guy, make a financial plan, how can they connect with you? And is it just for people that are local?
Nope. We are licensed in many states. So if you're in a surrounding area, chances are we can work with you. But you can go to strategiclegacyadvisors.com. That's our website. Or you can email me at drew@strategiclegacyadvisors.com or matt.s@strategiclegacyadvisors.com.
Perfect. And we'll add that to the show notes as well. I really want to thank you for joining me. I do know it's out of your comfort zone and social media really isn't your thing either, but I appreciate your support most of all. And I love you so much.
Thank you. I love being here and I'm proud of you for all the work that you've done in this, and it's very inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, friends, whether you tuned in for our love story, money talk, marriage, I hope this episode helped you feeling seen, a little more informed, and a whole lot less alone. There are no dumb questions when it comes to your coins. And if you have questions, ask your partner, ask your friends, ask them out loud, or even ask Drew. So thanks so much for tuning in to our episode of Omaha Mom Talks. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. Bye. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Incorporated, member of FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and our other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.
Omaha Mom Talks. Real moms, authentic conversations, no filter needed.